What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. Check it out. I just want to touch on something real quick. I'm looking at a whole lot of talk about who Jermal Charlo is not going to fight. I'm looking at a whole lot of talk about this guy's not going to fight that guy's not going to fight this guy. This guy's been calling this guy out for a long time now. This guy's been ducking this guy. This guy's been calling this guy. If you go on every channel and you start to look around, you know what you start to realize and see? There's been many fighters in all these different divisions saying, I want this guy, I want that guy, I want this guy, and then the fights don't happen. The fights that you want to see the most are the ones you're going to pay more attention to, but at the same time, for people to dismiss certain fighters, like I've seen channels where people are saying, like, Jermal Charlo shouldn't even go after a guy like Billy Joe Saunders. He shouldn't go after a guy like Chris Eubanks Jr. He shouldn't go after Canelo or Triple G. So, he needs to fight Demetrius Andrade. Okay, and after he fights Demetrius Andrade, then who? Right? And I agree, I want to see that fight. But what I'm saying is, how do we just dismiss fighters just because it's a particular fight that we want to see more than we want to see the other fights? Like I always say, your career is not about one man. Okay? Nobody's talking about Jarrett Hurd right now. Nobody's talking about J-Rock right now. There's a certain fighters that, because they have a loss, or because you don't like that fighter, you're saying that this guy shouldn't fight that guy. Listen, the pool is deep right now. As far as us not getting the fights that we want to see, yeah, you want those fights, you're voicing your opinions, but at the same time, even like, look, Chris Eubanks Jr., right? Out of all those top guys that we're talking about, nobody's really talking about him. Now, over in the States, you don't hear people talking about Chris Eubanks Jr. or Joe Smith, or Josh Taylor and fighters like that, because they're not from America. But what does that have to do with anything? I mean, I'm hearing people now, just like, for example, people that are saying they want to see Jermal Charlo fight Demetrius Andrade, and I for one want to see that fight as well. But then you got people saying that, Caleb Plant is running from Benavidez. What makes you say he's running from him? He's ducking him. It's always when a fight don't happen when you want to see it happen, and then you're saying that the fighters are ducking. But man, look, and y'all talking about 5 years ago, and listen, stop living in the past. Right now, from 154 to 175, it's a lot of talk about what's going on. People are paying attention now. And this is what we need to do. Push for these fights to happen, and stop sitting there putting your emotions in your so-called predictions about who's going to do this and who's not going to do that. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is leaving shit stains all on the name of boxing. And, you're blaming the fight. The fight is this, but he's not this and he's not doing that. Okay, so what happens? What happens when the same guys that you're saying is ducking beat the fighter that you want to see win? What's the excuse going to be then? I bet you he won't beat him in a rematch. Or something was wrong. Or, fuck him, he's overrated. I thought he was good. He ain't shit. Listen, grow up. Right now, all of us that want to see these fights happen, I'm talking about the fights. We'll do videos on the fights that we want to see happen. How soon they happen, we don't know. But at the same time, there's many fights that can be made. And from 154, at least from 154, I don't see too many guys that's going to jump from 154 and go up to like 168 or 175. But you got people that can make the jump from 154 to 160, from 160 to 168, 168 to 175. Certain guys could actually go from 160 to 175. People are talking about Jarrett Hurd is a weight bully now. He's too big for that division. I've heard people say the same thing as far as size is concerned about Demetrius Andrade. Like, that guy could be fighting at light heavyweight. It is what it is. But listen, these are the fights we want to see, and I do want to see Demetrius Andrade versus Jermal Charlo, most definitely. When I made the mentions of possible opponents, I didn't really say too much about Demetrius Andrade, but that's Andrade, however you say his name. I want to see that fight. So listen, tell me what y'all think about Demetrius Andrade versus Jermal Charlo. Would y'all want to see that fight first? Or would you want to see him fight a Canelo or Triple G first? Or, you know, anybody else other than first? And the reason I'm saying that, because the majority of people that is saying he shouldn't fight Canelo or he shouldn't fight, is because you know, it's certain fights they don't like. This is not about favoritism. This is about the fights you want to see. So what y'all think about Jermal Charlo versus Demetrius Andrade? Let me know in the comments. And remember, never fall in love with lies, and the truth brings hate out of people. Catch y'all in the next video.